Have you seen this yet,
I haven't
Wombat?
seen it. No.
It's cool.
So please hold your
I'm
applause
sure
to
it
the end. Microsoft Flight Simulators 2024 trailer dropped today, I
Oh,
think.
how would I have seen it then?
I mean, it's 9 p.m. on the East Coast. There's a lot of time between when it dropped.
There's
What
some
do you mean, how
past
would you?
tense in today, which means you may
Yeah.
have had some time to see it.
I think
not
actually,
happening right now.
technically, there's not past tense in today, but that's okay.
Yes, sir. You want sound or no sound?
A little bit of sound.
Wombat's it better?
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, those that have done it are like,
Oh, work. I'm at work.
Yeah.
When can I go home?
and the PowerPoint's here.
Mm,
Oh, is it getting scratchy?
no. It's good.
All right.
Did you dream of a career in aviation?
Not this career.
Not this dream.
Not that dream.
So you start with the.
I want to be that guy.
The guy in the back.
The guy in the back.
Yeah.
You're a CFI for 2,000 hours. The AI
these
tries
graphics.
to kill you.
These graphics
T-Bear.
are pretty cool. Look at that, man. This is ridiculous, man.
Actually, you know what? This frame rate's probably about what you would get on your computer.
Think so? It was Airbus.
I think I saw
T-Bear.
one of those. He doesn't do firefighting.
He doesn't. That's an air tractor, though, isn't it?
Yeah, with floats.
Oh, that's awesome, man. For a second, I was like,
I was wondering what we're zooming in on there. I'm like,
I think you'd get a lot more customers if you did the Blue Thunder picture taken.
Think so?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. That's what I dreamed
of
of.
course.
That's what I dreamed of there, Doug. What in the world? Wow.
What was that?
Wow. Work is calling.
Crew scheduling
is calling.
Answer the
Not
phone,
one-
Gog.
not
He's
one
out
Hawkeye.
playing video games.
PTSD.
Not one Hawkeye. Forget it.
What do you think?
Well,
what do you think,
Wombat?
Wombat?
No Hawkeyes. What's up?
Yeah, but
It's
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Serious.
cool.
Give us your opinion.
I spend a lot of time in simulators. It is very, very cool.
yeah, I tell you, if I was a kid growing up,
Oh, 100%.
they had
100%.
graphics like that. I mean, I would. Yeah,
But it's hard. Like I just learned the other day, and I'll probably
That's
get
what she
hate
said.
for this. There is a whole, and I'm sure every airline has this, but there's like a whole like pilot group virtual. And not
Yes.
like I had known a long time ago, like there's like squadrons from the Navy. Like there's a virtual Blue Angel squadron. Okay. But then there's a whole group of like airline pilots. And I'm like,
Hey,
I'm just trying to understand it because
you be nice, because when I was 13,
not-
I
I'm
was the
trying to
CEO of
understand.
one of the world's largest virtual airlines.
But not all the people in there were 13.
Actually, I didn't have any pilots. I just wanted to merge with all the other airlines and take them over. I was a very hostile CEO. I didn't really care about the flying part. I wanted a cool livery.
I feel like a
and then-
whole lot hasn't changed, actually.
Yeah. I didn't like I never actually flew a sortie. Flag.
Wombat. Question for you: this virtual airline world, are there real airline pilots in it?
I don't know. But I think.
You think so?
Yeah.
I know there are real airline pilots that are in virtual military squadrons.
Sure.
But I just was curious if
The thing is like I think what is interesting to me, and we've saw this is totally off tangent now because why would we be on? But we saw this in the military. Like there are people that this job becomes their sole identity.
So they get back from
like
a trip
100%.
and they're like, I got to get back on that.
I gotta go
virtual.
fly a trip. And I'm like,
Hmm.
and I don't know. I mean, you've known me 22 years. Has aviation has aviation been my sole identity at any time?
No.
Yeah. So I guess maybe that's why I have a hard time. Like I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's obviously given me a life that's something that I would
It's
never
fun.
expected. And I love giving back to it. But it's like anytime you do something and it's your sole identity,
Scary.
that does get a little scary because eventually it's going to go away.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
You don't know who you are, man.
Because you can't do it forever. So,
Mhm. What do you think there, mover?
I think it looks cool, man. The game is got to be fun.
Yeah, it is.
What I think they're trying to do, in all seriousness, is Microsoft Flight Sim is a little complicated for the average user because
okay.
there's not a lot of structure. So what they're doing is they're taking Microsoft Flight Sim, they're up in the graphics, hopefully with the new, with this software, because it looks good. It looks really good. But they're going, okay, how do we get the average person more interested? We missionize it. We go, oh, you can be a air ambulance. You can go fly this rich dude around. You can go try the airline thing. And they guide you through that, kind of like a Grand Theft Auto or a role-playing game or something like that.
That makes sense.
Versus you get this sim and here's your world and you have to choose your own adventure, kind of how it is now. Like it's your, what do they call it, Doug? Player versus environment, PvE.
PvE, yep.
That's what this is. Instead of like, oh, I've got to go, find somebody that lets me join their pretend airline. I just, fire up the old X container. Here I am. First Officer Gonky.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. I mean, Microsoft Flight Sim from the past was like, okay, here's the dark airplane.
Go.
It's like in real life, I don't even start a dark airplane. It's like,
dude.
But dude, let's zoom out a little bit. Let's zoom out a little bit. We have a pilot shortage. We have barriers to entry, barriers to knowledge. I think for the industry as a whole, it's good because what are they playing? Fortnite, some of these other games, and they grow up playing them. I grew up playing Microsoft Flight Sim, and worked out for me. Back behind me. I think if you can missionize it and inspire somebody that's like, hey, I did an aerial firefighting mission that was really cool in the game.
Sure. Yeah.
I want to go be
Yeah, don't use that pillow later. That pillow is for cuddling only. All right. That is not the sleeping pillow. If you catch me.
Oh boy, mover.
Yes. This is live on TV.
She was making a bed, dude. What do you think?
What?
She's making
what
her
were you
bed.
thinking?
She made her bed. She was nesting.
That means you've been there too long.
I need more coffee.
I bet you can't walk to go get it there, old man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I do think it's really interesting. It was never, but here's the difference. I never played video games as a kid, like ever. The first time I played video games was like in the Navy on cruise, and never played video games. So we never had video games. So it doesn't surprise me that I'm not super into video games. I think it's cool that people are, but I just warn people, like, there comes a point where you can learn a lot from them. And then there comes a point, right? I mean, there's lines that cross on a chart where it's like, it's more of a diminishing thing when you can actually put that effort and time into doing the real job. And then you go way down the chart and you get people that think they know the real job better than the real people. And then that's where I think the reality and the
what demographic? What demographic? Because a 12-year-old is not going to go fly at $200 an hour or $100 an hour, right? You're not going to replace this with the real life.
No, I agree. But at some point, there are things you can do. And 12 years old is not the age. But I'm talking when you're high school, college level, you get into a point where it's like you could be doing things to actively move towards the real goal if that's your goal.
Yeah,
That's all I'm
but
saying.
what I'm saying, even still, I see this as a inspirational tool and an informational tool.
Sure.
It's not a replacement. It's a, hey, I didn't know this was even a thing. I played this
Sure.
game. Can I go do this in real life? Oh, make them tell you no. Cool. That's a good idea. Like, that's all it
Yeah.
takes.
No, no,
How
no.
many how
I'm
many
not.
people have watched this channel and said, "Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing." And now I'm
Yeah.
in, I mean, wherever they are in their adventure.
Yeah, well, I mean, I get what you're saying, one bet. Some people take it too far. I get it.
That's the only thing I would
yeah.
caution people for. I'm not cautioning people for doing it. Like, yeah, it looks super
But
cool. It's crazy, the graphics.
yeah, and that's the thing for me, man. Is like, I think you're right, Mover. It is positive for aviation in general because it covers all genres basically
Mhm.
based on the trailer. And I think with the level that the graphics are now, like
No,
you
it's
can,
insane.
you can give people like visuals of like, hey, this is what these are the things you see when you're really flying planes, and it's like, wow, that's awesome. I want to go do that. So I think it's good for aviation in general because I Mover, you follow general aviation, I think probably better than I do, but it's not like general aviation is exploding in the US, and that's sad because
Well, what's exploding in the US is the cost.
that's what I'm
Mhm.
saying, right? So there's it's anything to get people interested in aviation, I think is good for aviation, and I think that Microsoft Flight Sim, this new one with much better graphics, is a step in the right direction. It's kind of like, in my mind, it's kind of like DCS. If you're a kid and you're playing DCS and you're like, this is, I get it. This is, dare I say it, a game, but I see myself being a fighter pilot. It
Sure.
it
Look,
fosters.
look, we're gonna have no more fans after this one, Goggy. Good job.
No, I agree, and I do, and I think it does bridge the gap of how expensive it is. Mover, you and I have talked about that just from my mild interest of trying to get into general aviation because of my kids, and I look at the cost, and I'm like, what? Like that? You kidding me?
Ain't
Like,
1997 anymore, won't bet.
no, and I mean, I get that's with everything, right? But it seems disproportional in general aviation to me. I don't know why.
Have you ever tried to go
Maybe I'm
race?
just not educated.
Have you tried to operate a race car any
Yeah,
time
but
recently?
remember, race car is a specialized thing, whereas like that would be like saying comparing operating a race car to flying, you'd have to be at something above like a Cessna 172 or 152, right? Like you're talking like the extra 300 level of high performance, right?
Not really. Yeah, look at. I mean, the racing that Doug and the Champ Car and the Lemons and these autocross, everything has gotten more expensive and less accessible.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I race dirt
So
bikes same way. It's the same way with
yeah,
racing dirt bikes.
dude, are boats any
oh
easier
no,
to
boats are
operate? That's what I'm saying. So it's a sign of the times.
but a lot of those things, you're going to disagree with me, but that's fine. A lot of those things don't lead themselves to the same type of careers as aviation could potentially. I mean, you go into driving and race car driving, your chances of being a professional race car driver are very, very slim, right? You get into flying and your chances of becoming a pilot where you can make money doing it, not as slim. I mean,
I get what
really,
you're saying. Yeah, that's valid.
Is it though? I mean, to
Well, because you can
somebody
go out and
living.
get a school loan, dude, and be the pilot
Hold
there.
on now. Oh yeah, because it's just that easy.
I've just
To someone living in East Texas in the hills, living in a trailer park, is
okay.
it? What I'm saying is, if you're in a certain socioeconomic status, you might as well be talking about going to the moon. It doesn't matter, race car, airplane, whatever. When you're saying, hey, you can just go get a loan. No, you can't. What income? What I mean, the accessibility no matter how many jobs, is just not there. And a lot of the information is not there. Race cars, and I would argue it's actually the opposite, because in East Texas, I know people that build their own race cars and make it work, versus
Sure.
building your own airplane is exponentially more expensive. You have to get licensed. The barriers to entry are way higher. And it's not just, hey, me and Billy Bob took the old, 58 Chevy and we made it into a race car. It is, I had to go through 40 hours to get my PL. I had to get the written test done. I had to do that.
Don't
On
you
top
have
of
to do
that,
some sort of licensing if you want to race a car too, though?
not on a dirt track, you don't.
Okay.
Not at the
But now
grassroots level. Not at
statistically
the grassroots
speaking,
level.
but statistically speaking, okay, how many people are coming out of that level and making it to professional? And I will go as far as to say, on the complete grassroots level of aviation, if you have the accessibility to an inexpensive plane, there are people out there flying those planes without private pilot's licenses because their dad taught them or their uncle taught them. Or, I mean, it's the same reason why you have people on farms that are driving around in trucks that don't have a driver's license. So there is that. I'm not, look, there's tons of barriers of entry to aviation. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is it's one of those things where I don't know if that same kid that you just described in East Texas is playing Microsoft Flight Simulator on an Xbox.
You're both
Either.
right.
Well,
You guys are actually.
it's cheaper to get an Xbox than it, I mean,
That's valid.
I'm not disagreeing.
I
but
can tell you, I guarantee you, I've been, and Gonky, you probably have too. I have been in more poverty level houses for various calls for service, and they've had PS5s and Xboxes. Some of which, the reason I was there was because someone broke in and stole just
Sure.
that. But what I'm saying is, like, when you call basic needs, somehow that filters in. Like, even at the lowest level, these consoles become there. Now, granted, you're right. The barriers are going to be the barriers. The money's going to be the money. I do think, to fix aviation, that's a whole different topic. But all I'm saying is, if you can take a game like this and inspire somebody with something that's not garbage, it's not, it's not beating up the hookers and taking their money. It's
Sure.
actually giving them a glimpse at what they could do. Now, is it accessible? Maybe, maybe not. But it just inspires them to do so, because I think we have an information gap just as much as we have an accessibility gap.
Sure. I mean,
Yeah, dude, I think it can do. I think it's going to do more good than bad.